Alrighty. Okay, music is playing. It looks like we have sound. Cool. I guess we are live on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. Sorry. So just so it's not like something completely boring. Cool. Now there's something on the screen. What's up, everybody? Trying to do multiple. Yeah, for the first time, trying to figure out some doing multi-stream, which is kind of crazy. Today, I'm just going to be doing some game art illustration. We're going to be making more stuff like this. I don't know. I still got to figure out what to do with the background here because I think I didn't turn this into. Maybe like that. I like that. I think it makes the character pop a lot more. I'll just save that while we go. Okay, wait. So what do I need to keep open? What can I close? I have 10 million browser windows open. That all needs to go away. Yeah. So how's everybody doing today? Hope you are doing well. Trying to figure out. This is crazy. Too many windows. Too many windows, y'all. Anyway, cool. So today I'm going to be doing an illustration of a game card. I'm working on this new card game called Cult Crafter. And so today we are working on another demonic god, if you will. No, I use this because we're just going to sketch and then we're gonna do the fullest illustration. But cool. So the idea for this is that I kind of want it to be some. I think some kind of weird amorphous being. I'm looking mainly for interesting kind of composition at first, but I think it's just gonna be this like. So this is a god that has the attributes of both rot, which is like decay, slime, mold, that kind of thing, and then bone, which is obviously like skeletons and stuff like that. So I think. So the idea is it's called the Frenzy. And this thing is going to be like, yo, I've got all these different skeletal, like it's a frenzy of dead things. So it's all just like creepy bone and slime. And there's like, I don't know, weird skeletal heads kind of popping out. And so the idea is that, like, imagine if there was, I think, skeletal demons that could, like, imagine, like, piranhas that are skeletons that could swim around and walk on land because it's in a giant blob mass. And then it, like, shoots out, like, these fish things. Because I don't know, it's a mix of rotting sludge, and I think fish have like little baby chompers. It's like rotting sludge and skeletal monsterness. So that's kind of the idea that I'm going for here. And also, like, I know Instagram Live is weird, and I'm like, obviously my desktop is like a widescreen format. So if that looks strange to you, then or if it's cropped in a way you can't see what I'm drawing, let me know. So I think there's going to be both like more mammalian things kind of in here. We'll have like, I don't know. I'm kind of used to drawing more mammalian skulls for some reason, but I don't know. It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll have other skulls and like maybe a human skull in here as kind of like the main. I imagine he's like a gelatinous goop monster that's kind of like walking down the street or something, and then is all like, "Yo, I'm a goop monster." So I don't know. That's what I have in mind. Is it actually what's going on? Who knows? The angry looking. Maybe he has red eyes. I think he definitely, if he has a bottom jaw, it's definitely detached. I don't know if I like this. It kind of looks a little bit cartoony. Part of it's the proportions. Part of it could also just be that he like has eyes and he's like, whoa, it's like very cartoony. That looks, I don't know, I hate this a lot less. Anyway. So you need some sort of jawbone type thing, and then there's a bunch of other spots. He's like, and it's like, this one, I don't know. I suck at perspective. I'll be the first to admit it. I like, in art school, I took like one perspective class, and I like, it was legit super rough. I honestly, I thought I was gonna fail it. I was taking it, so it's all I gotta like. The main thing I want is like motion with this one is to be like, it's like the slime, and it's just like the skeletal parts. It's just made of like a lot of different shadowy kind of skeletons is sort of the idea. There's like other skeletal fish maybe. Do they have? Yeah, I guess it depends on the type of fish, but some of them have tails. But I don't know. I think this is looking pretty frenzy-esque. I like this. But oh yeah, so perspective, super legit. I took it at summer, taking both figure drawing for the first time and perspective, and taking 2 studio classes over summer. That's a lot of classes because you're taking like you're going in like I'd have perspective Monday and Wednesday, and then I had figure drawing Tuesday and Thursday. So like you go in for class for 6 hours on Monday, then you have to do a bunch of homework for your class on Tuesday because you turn it in. Then you get class from Tuesday for Thursday, but then on Tuesday night you have to do your homework for Wednesday, and it's just like so you're like I remember just being awake like probably like 20 hours a day, and you're just like drawing. You're just drawing, or like I would be. It was so hard to be in class sometimes because like they'd be lecturing and I'm like trying to pay attention, but I've gotten, 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night for the past month, and you're just like, this is so brutal. Or even just trying to draw, like you're sitting at a desk and you're just like, I'm dying, man. I'm dying. Okay, wait. I need more reference. I have a book of skulls that I'm looking at on my desk. Like a moray eel. That's kind of legit. Ooh, that shit looks hella scary. I don't know if I can draw this in perspective though. I'm gonna try. I'm also trying to like. I'm thinking about the composition because I want like your eye to like move around and not get stuck in one area. Like I have kind of like I'm using like slime and splatters to sort of like keep your eye moving around the composition. Or in theory, that's what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm actually doing it, but and the eye. Okay, so this is like the weird, creepy part. You're not gonna see a whole lot perspective. Yeah, perspective is tough. This feels like an eel, though, mouth. Kind of looks like, it feels like a snake mouth, but like, it also feels very eel-esque. I think like, they have, it's interesting like when you look at skeletons a lot, you know, it's like, it's really interesting to me to figure out like, why is it that way, or like why is there like a plate here, and then what's that, like why are there holes here, like is it to make the skull lighter, is it to um like what's it for, you know, like what's like, I guess obviously you have like a skull to like help protect the brain, right, so it can like bash into stuff, but I don't even know. Okay. The problem is this is also just like skulls, so I'm not actually sure what a moray eel's uh, skeleton looks like, and so I'm just like assuming it's kind of very snake-like. But I feel like, I don't know, it's like partially like gelatinous, and I don't know. This stuff is crazy. Also, I apologize. I have like, using Streamlabs, like I can't get it to play the music that it's playing for everyone else. So I don't know if you have music. I don't know if it's quiet, if it's too loud. I legit have no no clue as to what's going on here. Like most type things in life, I'm blissfully unaware of what's happening. Okay, I like this sketch layer. I am going to change the opacity down, and then naming it sketch. I'm going to now, I should fill in a color. We're gonna do like this. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do like a yellowish bone color actually, and then because so much of this part is gonna be green, um, that this is like the, you know, I call it an ink layer, yeah, but it's really just sort of a you know, the key line is what you might call it in like a traditional printing place, is like the key line. So so this is an interesting thing, because so like stylistically, like if you look at the other art, like that slime, but everything has like a key line of black, right? So like if we look at that, this is like the blood dragging Sanguinus Rex. That has a key line even though it's liquid. So I'm still kind of like keeping part of illustrating an entire set is that I'm trying to keep the same art style, because it's really easy for me to kind of jump around or try to like experiment with art styles and try to do other things. So like, I don't know, it's like the way I would paint it if this was like acrylic painting or like oil painting, probably be a little bit different, but I'm trying to keep everything uniform, so then when you're, you know, I'm having a full card game come out, and I need it to all look cohesive, like from, you know, because that's what a game does, right? That's why oftentimes in like, besides things like Magic the Gathering or like collectible card games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, that kind of thing, like you usually get hired as an artist to do like an entire set. And so obviously I can show this art because it's my own game, so I'm the publisher, and or hopefully everyone watching this at some point becomes a publisher when I drop the crowdfunding campaign backer kit, by the way, in March. But yes, but I'm basically the publisher, and art director and everything. But I know like one of my teachers, who's a pretty from art school way back when, 14 years ago. That's pretty crazy to think. He does a lot of like board game design and stuff like that, and he would get those were always great gigs for him. He would say because he's getting like he's like you have to do 47 illustrations, and it's just like you're doing it all. And I mean a lot of artists aren't as experimental in their style as me. I'm pretty constantly trying to change things up in how I ink, and I don't know, like I'm very grateful. A lot of people have been like, oh, you definitely have your own style in how you make stuff. And like they're like, even if you paint in different styles, I had some people talk to me at the last Leviathan Goth night that I was vending at, and they were looking at my print kind of portfolio, and they're like, oh, like you have like 3 different styles going here, but like they all very much feel like you. So that was very, for someone like me who feels like none of my pieces look the same, that was very nice of them. So the main thing I am trying to figure out right now is how thick of a line do I work on like the slime layer, if that makes sense. Because kind of the idea is that like there's very obviously hard, like bony parts, and then there are also kind of like liquid parts. So kind of like, can I use line to differentiate that? Do I need to differentiate that? How will I differentiate that? Those are all kind of things I'm currently thinking about while I'm telling you weird stories about art school and things like that. Anyway, I added these. You can see like this is the sketch layer didn't have these like fins going back. And I don't know. I thought that'd be cool to add it in. They can also be like holding on to slime and like, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a weird transition of it being like half in the boat. Like, I don't think oftentimes there's actually a huge, like your jaw, like the human jaw even, there's like a big hole here for like organs and stuff to go through, right? You eat, you swallow, it goes through like the gullet. So I don't know. I'm literally figuring out this kind of style as we go here. And I think it's something where it sort of fades because it's like getting more into thick. Like the slime is like partially translucent, but it's also I think partially opaque. Cuz it's like, if the idea is that it's like rotting organic matter, it's going to be kind of like chunky, it's not going to be uniformly rotting. So I don't know. I think I might have, like, there's probably like, I gotta put like a lot of little like splashes, like gross splatty stuff, I think, to make this work. Like this skull, like, I don't know. I'm basically basing it like loosely on other animals, but yeah, that seems kind of too big for a nasal cavity. So that overlap is going to be important to push this skull kind of like back. Um, so even though this is like in theory like a giant human skull, I do want to sort of like set it back. And by set it back, I mean set it back in space. So it's sort of like behind all of this stuff that's coming forward. And so, you know, like it's a little bit weird because of the size. It's like, I don't know, like I want this fish to look really like it's only gigantic because it's coming at you. And if this jaw really is kind of like you're gonna see the tops of teeth. Those are all bad. Bottom teeth are like, it's interesting because a lot of times you don't really see like, you see more of the tops. And also like you don't really see people's bottom teeth a lot, to be honest. You'd make room for the palette. It's a little harsh. Just trying to. Okay. Yeah, that looks fine. It's not the best skull I've ever done. It's also not the worst. So we're just gonna fill this in. There's another big. Fish swimming in there. I'm sort of like lightly erasing kind of parts to like make it look like there's like, you know, this when I color this, I can also use sort of the colors to sort of push all of this back. All right, let's do this one face that's popping up. It's always interesting because like when you look at a skeleton, like all of the tendons and connective tissue has been removed. So you're like, how does that jaw like hold itself open? Like, what is it doing? Why is it like, you know, not like how does that connect? And then you're like, oh yeah, there's all this tissue that we have in our faces behind under the skin that you know, that's a weird tangent, but under the skin that makes things connect. We just gotta make this the same, and then we'll say that these are the same pieces, and then just the bony rotation, and then it'll just turn into slime because I don't actually know what the hell this thing is. Just kind of fudging a lot of this, to be honest. We'll just push this back. Yeah, so that's just like a weird thing that's coming forward. And then now we can work on this moray eel design-esque. I say esque because it's like, you know, I'm looking at reference, but I'm also not taking the time to get this like perfect. I'm just... I'm mainly focused on this is interesting. Sorry, the perspective on this, I'm struggling because my sketch was wrong. Okay. Yo. Thank you. Where is that? Why is that? Oh, First Rain. What's up? Hitty ho. Oh, that's weird. Sorry. Thanks, Rain. Oh, also, what up, Fixed Temple Toys? Sorry if I missed you. Thanks so much for hanging out. Yo, Ivan, how's it going? Settle 100 inside one of the heads. Yeah. Sorry, Instagram fam. It's like I got too many chats apparently to look at. So, multi-stream, whatever. Why doesn't, hey, Streamlabs, if you're listening to this person who obviously has a lot of influence with your company, why don't you put all of the chats, please, into one thing? Anyway, into one little thing. How are you doing, Rain? How is your evening going? Put a subtle 100 in here, maybe. Hundo cup. It's just going to be embedded in the slime. And I'll have like a skee ball. Just for you, Brad. Just for you, my friend. Because, I mean, we did win the mug together. So, I think it's the least I can do is to hook you up with some skee ball references in the art every now and then. Stressed out, trying to do a walk with Doggo. Which is impossible. Why is it impossible to do a dog walk with people blowing up their money? Oh, are you talking about like firecrackers and stuff? I just realized, I was like, I'm not sure how you like blow up money, but now I get it. I get it. I understand the thing. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I always forget because it's like, wait, is it New Year's Eve for you already now? I'm like, Wow. Different time zones is wild. It's still like a day early. It's like the night of like it's the 30th going to the 31st. Why are people using like firecrackers now? You've still got time, people. They've been doing it for days. Dang. You know, I totally thought that was like an American thing. Like that's what it's like on 4th of July sometimes is you're just like why do you do this? Why is it like that? Why do people decide to do that? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like yeah, why it doesn't really make sense to me. Plus it's like I don't know, like I feel like I'm old and curmudgeon-y now, but it's just like why are we like fireworks that aren't even big sanction ones? Like I'm kind of like I mean it's cool, but like I feel like especially individual fireworks, it's like it's super insensitive to like veterans, cats. Like it's just like such a pain in the ass for most people, I think. Okay, we know how much I hate repetitive drawing, and welcome to my hell. It is rib time. I hate drawing the same. Or like I hate this kind of thing where it's like, you know what? I just have to like kind of figure out how these ribs work and then draw lots of them. And I'm like, ugh, worst ever. Yeah. War zones. Blah. Sucks. Yeah, I can't imagine like living in an actual like area of conflict. Uh, sorry. Well, zoom in. You'll see how sloppy I'm getting with this, but I don't know. So have you streamed yet, Rain? I heard we you know, you might be joining us streaming soon. Yeah. I imagine once you start streaming, does that mean you're gonna start like co-hosting the Tezos art stream with me? Uh huh. Uh huh. Maybe. Maybe. Uh huh. Heh heh. Like no. You're like a man can dream though, you know. Never cut a man's dreams down. I feel like you know, uh, like whatever. I'm totally not judging anyone who doesn't feel comfortable like doing public speaking and stuff. But I think it's super weird because I used to hate talking in public, and now obviously I just like go on the internet and talk to even myself sometimes, just randomly talking, doing things that are being recorded for all of humanity because nothing on the internet ever dies. Um, but I don't know. If you would have told me that I was doing this when I was like a kid, well, one, I wouldn't have believed you because when I was a kid, there was no internet. So I definitely wouldn't have believed you. But I don't know if I would have believed you if you were just like, oh yeah, you're comfortable talking in front of crowds and stuff. Um, because I was so not down with that, and so, you know, in a lot of ways, like traumatized from just like not being comfortable speaking in public. Partially because most of it was because I had a speech impediment growing up, so I couldn't actually pronounce my own name, which is like really hard to do like introductions when you're like, "Hi, I can't even I tell you my name, but I can't actually say it." Like literally. You're just an illusion. I mean, like that's totally fine. I think like there's no one on like probably I don't know if anyone is on YouTube. I don't even know where to like track that metric. Okay, so we got this. Look how nice this skeleton looks like. I actually took my time and I fucking made this weird skeleton man or skeleton eel thing. See, then I don't know if that makes it even like easier. If you know that no one's watching you, I feel like that makes talking slightly easier. I don't know if it's more stressful or less stressful. I have no idea what I don't even know what I would feel about that if I'm like if people are like no one's listening, you're just by yourself. And I mean like there's totally days where I stream and like no one's on, and so then it's like, huh. All right. I did it, everyone. Everyone be super proud of me. I did all of the line art for all of. Look at this eel thing. Oh my god. That fucking 10 million ribs. Hey guys, I'm doing hard things that I don't feel comfortable doing to try to show you that it's possible. It's possible. You can do things you dislike a lot. Anyway, just trying to be an inspiration to everybody, to the zero people watching, because first rain is just an illusion. Do I like this green? This feels too green. No, I don't know. I like this. I might. Okay, I'm gonna mute it. I'm gonna push it back. So one, there's more contrast with the background, and two, it gives me more. It'll help make the stuff I want to be covered in slime be less slimy. I don't know if that makes to be more slimy. It'll help me play with the opacity of the liquid a little bit more if I have I don't know. I probably could go even darker to be honest, but yeah. Thanks. My illusion, the illusion that is a friend named First Rain is proud of me. Hey, I couldn't ask for anything more. Hello. I'm going to pronounce your name Joy. Thanks. welcome. Yeah, more. Yeah, make it more opaque. Okay, and so when I'm like trying to managing multi-stream chat as like a little dude who's focused on painting feels very challenging. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so the whole idea is that like when you're trying to make something kind of fade or like blend into something else, what you're actually looking for is a lack of contrast. The more contrasty it is, the more it stands out, right? And so if I'm going for this idea that this giant slime creature, this god of bone and rot, is full of slime, and it's like there's bone bits inside this slime monster, then I need to play with opacity and contrast because the bone parts are going to stick out. Too small. And because I'm using a black outline, the darker it is, you can already see that like you can't see the skeleton part on this eel as well, and that's sort of on purpose. Because I was wondering, I was like, like stylistically, how am I gonna go about painting this? Because I know how I would paint, like I would paint it very differently in some ways. Well, I don't know, maybe not that differently. If I was not using line, I could make it a little bit more translucent because I don't have to worry about the contrast of the slime color and the key line, which is like the outline basically. Interestingly enough, so I use keyline because I was a printmaker. I would argue I still am, but I haven't really made prints in a very long time. And by printmaking, I mean traditional printmaking, like screen printing or not like digital prints. But what are known as original multiples, screen prints, etching, like lithography, stuff like that. And so anyway, so with that kind of printmaking, generally the outline, it goes back to actually making prints with like what's known as process printing. So like CMYK, if you heard of that, it's like printer ink, cyan, yellow, magenta, and black, which is a K. And so you can just say the K stands for black, but it technically it used to stand for key because that was the key line, which is all of the outline that like locks everything together. So that's why I still refer to the oftentimes like the outline is the key line, because I don't know, I'm a printmaker at heart and I'm a weirdo. Anyway, okay, so that's the slime layer. I'm gonna make the bone layer darker just so you can sort of see. It looks like there's something there on the against this kind of creamy background, but the highlights will be very similar. But yeah, that's what's going on. And I'm mainly just going to focus on, like, I know I'm going to do some of the blending at the end on its own layer, so I'm not too worried about the transition areas. So like, or like the areas that are like covered in slime. This is just the layer for me to make sure I get the like the exposed bone that isn't really covered in slime, or is less covered in slime, we'll say. All right. Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it, fam. We're getting there. Okay, and of course, as always, if anyone has any questions on like why I'm doing something or what I'm thinking about, feel free, just drop it in the chat. Let me know. Let me know if I'm not explaining something, or if my brain is being stupid and I think I'm explaining something well and you're just like, I have no idea what he's talking about. Just... Cool. Jojo. Welcome, Jojo. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Good to see you. How you doing? Now I'm just cleaning up some of the edges. And the reason why I'm kind of like just doing this all one color right now is because I'm really just going to use it as, I'm going to bring some of it underneath, as a layer mask in a lot of ways. Oh wait, I need to, this will pop this area out a lot more. And so while I obviously am just trying to make this dude look, or this thing, I don't know, it's gender, and my demons, I'm not sure if they have a gender. How are they doing? Anyway, that is a question that I haven't necessarily answered yet. But so what I'm also thinking about here is composition. I'm trying to figure out how to make sure that the this will be mostly gray, and then now let's just do all gray. I can always do green back over it. I'm trying to make sure that like when we zoom out, because it's going to be printed like pretty small, that you can sort of like, it makes sense. Like you need to be able to see this when it's like printed on a, you know, tiny playing card, like, you know, like Magic the Gathering card size, right? It's going to be like that big. It's actually about the same size on screen. So you got to make sure stuff reads. And part of that is, a lot of that's the composition side of things. Cool. So now that I have these two layers down, let's zoom in a little bit more so we can see. We're going to start, I think I'm going to start adding in, actually, I'm gonna tighten. I'm realizing zoomed in that some of this needs to be tightened up, and even though there's a part of me that's like, I should keep these as two separate layers, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna flatten this to just be one layer, so it's really just like the creature or not the creature. And that'll allow me to do a little bit more seamless blending and painting that I think at the end of the day is going to be, is going to look good. Okay. Just cool. Oh, this needs to be painted in. cool. Already a little bit of that blending, I think, is going to look good. Sick. Ooh, shit. I should not have saved that the way I should have saved it. Oh, well. This is the Frenzy art. And, you know, usually I'm not like, I just kind of like name stuff, whatever. But, like, once you're doing a big project, like this is, I was telling someone today how many, this is going to be 50 illustrations for this game that need to be done before the campaign starts. And then there's going to be 50 illustrations after the campaign, roughly. So pretty wild. And by campaign, I mean the crowdfunding campaign to make sure this is like a thing. Anyway, so I'm creating a clipping mask. Nope, not that way. New layer. So basically, I can't, that you couldn't really see that. I can't make a line that's not already on, that has color on it, is what I'm doing. So with that, I'm going to sample this green. I'm going to push it muted and darker. And that's going to be sort of like the shadow of this thing. So like this is, and I'm just going to do lighting from the left because it sort of makes the most sense. Meaning that this fish head is like casting a shadow on the slime beneath it and behind it. It's just going to be like, I'm going to just sort of like render out some of these slime drips. Like the inside of his, the skull is going to be really dark. Just going to kind of like this whole side is going to be slightly darker just because of how the slime, I realized it's just like, oh yeah, it's going to be darker because if light is coming from this side, we're going to get shadows. That's how light works. And it's just, we're going to just push it more that way. Yeah. And then this needs to be much darker, like the inside of the skull. And I'll probably go in with like another thing of green because like it's unlikely that these things that are popping out of the slime are going to be completely clean, right? Like there's totally going to be slime in there. I'm going to push it even darker, darker still. So that really feels like it's popping out. I'm going to do the same thing to a lot of the insides of the skulls to start getting the shadows and the dimension kind of going on. These are all supposed to be like ocular cavities, which is basically where eyeballs sit. And like you have to have optic nerves that go from the eyeball deep into the skull, so that's why they're kind of on the hollow side. the side of the face of the skull is going to be mostly in shadow because we determined the light is coming from the other side. So just making sure I'm rendering everything in a way that stays visually consistent. This one is a little bit, I can say maybe it's facing directly into the light, so it's going to have less harsh shadows. Everything is going to be a little bit more just like smoothed out. Push that jawbone back. We can push the far side of the teeth and the jaw. You can see that part gets hit with some light. That'll make it pop out, be kind of cool looking. Cool. So now, like, we're getting close. Getting, like, the nice thing about this is that, like, it doesn't need to be perfect. We can add some texture. We can work with like different levels of darkness. See, so by like keeping this all very dark, you don't even see some of the details that I put in here, which is precisely the point. I'm trying to like focus your eye on all of this really cool mouth parts, and then like the skull is a second read, and if you're really paying attention, you can see the skee ball cup and the skee ball and like all this other kind of like maybe some of the other skeleton heads and some like, I don't know, it's kind of dumb, but like skee ball will be there. Which is actually really fun. I'm really glad that someone popped in and was like, hey, this is a thing. This is a thing that you should be doing. So anyway, okay, cool. Just continuing on, pushing values. And I'm like starting to blend some of the greens up here, kind of like with this head. But what's going to make a difference is starting to add highlights. I can get pretty sharp with the highlights, meaning like they're very stark. Mainly because this thing is wet, right? And so wet things reflect light. And so you get like these really sharp highlights when you might not otherwise get them. So I'm sort of rendering this like it's, even though it might be not as green, hopefully it has the, it's retained the wetness of the slime. So we're going to get these sort of like shiny highlights on parts. Especially on like the edges where light's changing. Here's a sample that color again on this guy. So I push the highlights, and I kind of have to correspondingly push the shadows, especially on this one. Because it's like coming forward. And so when I talked about contrast, I'm trying to add more contrast to this one, so it really like comes forward as a piece. Anyway, now I'm gonna sort of do the same. I should probably push the shadows in this a little bit more, but I'm gonna start trying to hit the slime with some highlights to see if I like by pushing highlights and shadows, and you like kind of go back and forth. It really helps allow you to see like what needs to get done. And sometimes you're like, oh, I pushed like value. If you go black, you can't get any darker. So by necessity, you have to make things. If you want to increase contrast, you have to make things lighter. And if you're just painting with like almost like pastels and whites and stuff, you're not gonna. You can't go any lighter than white. So then you want more contrast, you have to go darker. So it's really just about kind of maintaining the contrast in a way that makes sense. Okay. And so what I'm also going to want to do is so I'm going to kind of do this first pass of rendering the slime. And then what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to then do one last paint layer on top that is that might go over the key line, the line art. And the reason to do that is to show that the light is reflecting, and so it'll be blocking out the line work, basically. And I would do that over the whole thing if I was kind of rendering this the way I usually render things. But because it's this style, because I usually don't use line art a whole lot when I paint. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times when I think about painting, I don't necessarily use the line art. I don't want that to be too light. I need to push all of this darker, I think. So just pushing this back. And by when I say pushing it back, it's like pushing it back in space. By making this darker, this will pop out more and come forward, and this will recede back because of the contrast effect. All right. So I'm going to go with an even darker green to sort of like really push back some of this, like these areas that will be very dark in shadow. The nose I completely missed the first time. That's just a big hole. Okay. So the only last thing to do is I do need to shift the color of the bone that's being covered by slime, because the slime's covering the bone, but so then the bone is going to be inside the slime, and because it's a relatively whitish refracting thing, it needs to be lighter. Or it needs to like, part of it is reflecting light at least. So you're going to get parts of it being hit by light, and as it turns away, a lot of it will, like, it's only the bottom part of these ribs that are going to get hit. But the main thing is to basically show that this is a solid object within the slime. I don't know if you can even see that much, but just by rendering, like, just because it's inside the slime, if I want to make it actually look translucent, there needs to be some sort of rendering going on. So I can show that maybe this jaw is actually a bigger piece, or I can imply that. We can render out the skull or areas of the skull that would be getting hit with a lot of light. So yeah, the skull now is like, it's there. It's a nice little secondary read up here, right? But then you're really focused on these kind of crazy dudes up here. I think I'm going to just really push some of the eye work back. Really just to make sure that we're sort of focused on the right stuff. All right. I think we are doing well. We are doing well. All right. Same kind of thing. I should like probably just hit a little bit of light on some of these skulls to kind of like show that they're in here. But yeah, overall, I think you focus on the four heads kind of coming out, and then there's the good old skeleton as secondary read, and if you really look, you can find this weird ski ball stuff. But yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. I'm going to call that one done. What is the next piece? I got to look at my spreadsheet. Come on, spreadsheet. Um, madness and darkness. Okay, we're almost done. Oh, exsanguinator. Nah, I don't really want to do exsanguinator. Let's see. Dark shambler. Let's just do the dark shambler. Okay. This is just going to be like the earlier version. I'm going to be like, no, go away, go away, go away. Okay. Exsanguinator is... No, I'm doing dark shambler. Madness and dark. You would think that I would remember things by now, but of course I don't. So I always have to look at... where's my little color thing? Oh yeah, this. Okay, madness and darkness, so it's going to be teal and purple. Sounds good to me. Okay. So now, so I don't screw this layer up again, dark shambler art. Okay, this one will be cool. This nice lovely blue background. Delete that. Do a new layer called sketch. Save. Okay, so the idea behind this is I kind of want something with, maybe it's kind of like a spider. People hate spiders. I mean, spiders are pretty creepy, but I think maybe it shambles, right? So it has like lots of legs. I don't know, but then I think it has like a weird face. So it also has to be madness, so it has to be kind of weird. It can't just be like a weird shadow bug, you know? Like if it was just darkness, shadow spider, totally acceptable. But because this is a, oh, you know what would be cool? It'd be cool if it just had one giant eye down here. I think that would look good. Has an eye. It's kind of made of shadows. Purpley, and it has like lots of veins. Yeah. And these all are like hyper segmented. But I think then it has like a weird mouth up here. Has all these teeth. And maybe like a tongue that comes out. I think it's gonna be one of those bright pink like chameleon type tongues that have like sticky stuff on it. It'll be all slimy and gross. Yeah. Because why not trigger as many nightmares for people as possible? it'd be weird if it's like kind of has like udders or like some sort of like drippy thing underneath its stomach. Just, you know, like the more texture you give a creature, like I feel like the creepier it becomes. All right. So we've got a weird ass shadow creature. I'm going to actually fill in first. I'm just going to do a big thing of color just to like, partially the reason I'm doing this is, I mean, like I really had a very vague idea of this one coming in to stream tonight. As you can tell, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do this one. This is the one I probably should do. So part of me is checking for like composition of how I'm just like of this creature. Does it make sense? Like, could I improve eye flow, something like that? Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to check. It's just like, how does this work? As remember, this is going to end up being a tiny, tiny, like, I don't know, less, maybe 3-inch illustration, I think. So given that, what does it look like? And so, like, doing it this way, where I'm doing the kind of the silhouette of the color before I'm finalizing the sketch, it's sort of a nice way if you are just like wanting to design something where it has like a cool silhouette shape and is readable, as opposed to finalizing the line art and then having to redo it to be like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm into this. I might flip this guy around, I think. Yeah. Because I haven't done stuff facing to the right. You know, it's one of those. Sometimes you want to make sure you're checking your art biases where you're like, oh, I always make. Like, that's one thing when I do portraits. I'm like, I often make people facing to the left. So sometimes I have to, like, force myself to paint people looking the opposite way. I don't know, or do I? Yeah, I think I might make people. Yeah, I think at this point I do enough that I go back and forth, but you never know. Anyway, okay. Part of me wants to make this eye like not an actual eyeball, but just like a weird galactic thing. So I might do that. Anyway, now we need to lower the opacity on the sketch. And now I can ink. And again, I'm using like this like chalk angled brush to kind of give it a very like, well, the idea actually was to keep it kind of graphic, and by graphic I mean flat, a little bit flat looking. But then I started realizing with the design limitations of using this brush, you can actually like, you can still get stuff pretty rendered, which is just sort of naturally where I gravitate towards, is on the more rendered side. But yeah. the inspiration for this art style was actually uh, the anime Don Da Da Don. Don Da Don. I always call it. I add like extra beats to it. Don Da Da Don Don, because that's kind of like the theme song has that kind of vibe to it. It's on Netflix. It's on Crunchyroll. It's about this dude who basically ends up with like the power of uh, like he like fights ghosts and stuff. It's like a supernatural kind of teenage shonen style anime. It's pretty good. But the style that the anime like looks normal, is like normal anime style, I guess, or what you would expect if you watch a lot of anime. But then the intro has this like super graphic, uh, very designed style, which I was just like, oh, this looks so good. And so I was trying to figure out, oh, can that style sort of like work with more colors, and then like, can I do portraits with it? Because whatever style I do for this game, I have to be able to do portraits. And then eventually I was like, oh damn, this is like super legit. So that's kind of that's what's up. That's where this came from. Okay, I'm going to take off the sketch layer. Now I can just look at the line work sort of on its own. Things I missed, things I want to strengthen. Adding a little bit more wrinkles and like creepy stuff like that. Too small. I don't know. I don't actually like that line anymore. I think that line's fine. And I'm editing like some of this line work because I was thinking about like, you know what I really want? I'm going to have the light come from the upper right hand corner. So I'm going to like beef up the lines on the bottom side to kind of give it an extra sense of depth, or of like lighting. So I think that's like one of the crazy things about like comic artists is that like I know like no one gives enough credit to inkers, because like you're like, oh, it's like the pencilers who are actually drawing the thing. But I'm like, how you ink something, like you got to get like, comics are really a team sport, you know, and you really need like good everything. Good inkers, good good pencilers because it makes a difference. Or it can make a difference. Depends on the style, obviously. Some styles you're just like, oh, like it's all super crazy, so it matters less. But in this case, you know, you can push light and shadow with just the width of your line. Anyway, okay, cool. We're almost done just filling in some of this stuff, and then now new layer, create clipping mask. Sweet. Okay, now I'm going to do a shadow layer, and here we go. So those legs get some shadow because they are they're going up, so like the light's hitting from the side, and so it's gonna give it just a little bit of a shadow, cast shadow. I just do it. This is like a simple enough creature that I'm gonna just do one layer for this. Oops, got a little bit too crazy there. Woo. I'm going to do the mouth a little bit separately because it's going to be a different color, so. I am going to do the inside of the mouth black though. It's an endless pit into darkness. That is the nature of this creature. All right. New layer. Still clipping. Yep, still clipping to that. Now we're gonna push this a little pinkish, a little muted. More meant to be a color change than anything, but have to add some shadow to it. Give the edge of it a little pop. Then we're gonna paint this weird tongue. going to have its own shadow, light, and shadow too. I'm gonna do the highlights a lot later, but I'm just gonna do the whole mouth right now. And that includes the teeth. I like that, you know, the teeth are going to have like a little bit of wetness to it, so certain parts are going to be pretty bright, and actually farther on the bottom because the light's coming this way. But then just some parts, the tips of the tops of the teeth might catch light in some areas, depending on how the lip falls. And then, okay, I guess I might as well do this part. It's like a darkness void eye is kind of what I'm going for here. And I'm going to actually open up an old, where is it? The Queen of Darkness. Where is she? Where are you? Oh, the Void Queen. Sorry, got her name wrong. Void Queen. Okay, so I just did actually black with, okay. Just trying to stay visually consistent, you know what I mean? So I'm doing it kind of the other way. It's actually very bright, but with the darkness inside, and then working on, yeah, that's looking good, I think. And then we can have like one crazy eye, and then we'll do I did just do that. Okay. Blur, Gaussian blur. So now it's like galaxy is in its eye because, you know, they do like galaxy stars. Because I don't know, it's darkness. Darkness is like voids, and voids mean like, you know, galaxies and stuff. Okay, let me just, I think this should be good enough. give some light and a little bit of texture to that tongue. Then I'm going to add some of like the tongue or the lip striations there. Angling it as I go. Cool. So then we got this nice grotesque mouth. And then feel like I need to show that it's like touching the ground. So I'll just like, I'm gonna like knock out this shadow real quick. Those are the shadows of its legs. This one is making contact with the ground. This is like its neck. Because like this one is meant to be like down flat. Like I feel like it really just needs to be a little bit more grounded. So I feel, haven't really done shadows on the background before, but like, first time for everything. Setting a precedence. Setting a precedence. All right. What else do I need to do? Okay, I like this one. I feel this one's like pretty much done. That was quick. Part of the speed is like the more drawing I have to do, the way slower it gets. Like this took so long. Partially because I had to do all these damn like ribs for over there. Like look at this. Look at this. Look at these ribs that I slaved away drawing. Because it's so, I don't know. I shouldn't be complaining too much, but anyway. Okay. These were ones that I was like, I don't know why I was like worried about Dark Shambler. This dude like came super easy. This one I was worried about just because I knew like the concept I wanted, and like I was like, oh, I gotta get all of these skeletons and bones and stuff. Like, look at this. Liquid Dragon, so easy. So easy. Just Blood Dragon, you're fine. Bone Lord, pain in the butt. Oh, I gotta do all these ribs and anatomy and like bones parts and like all of the teeth. Void Queen, easy. Shape, stars, burning crown, a black flame. You cool, lady. You cool. This dude though. I'm pretty stoked on this. I think this one looks pretty sick. This might be my favorite one besides Nightmare Sama. Okay, I mean like come on, look at this dude. Part of it is just like I love pink and teal. I'm such like an 80s monster fan, but like he's eating someone's fear. He has like a sword sticking in his neck, little railroad spikes in his shoulder. And he's just like, I'm just a big crazy demon, fear demon. So, I don't know. That's pretty dope. I like that. So okay, that's probably my favorite. That's okay. We don't need to see everybody else. Okay. So we got Frenzy. We did the other one. I'm not gonna have time to finish another one, but should I start on next to you? Still have two more demons before. Did I finish Festival of Madness? I gotta start branching out. The monsters are fun because. Oh yeah, we finished this one. This is the one that I got shadow banned on TikTok for talking about the substance in the jar in the guy's hand. Yeah. Don't do illicit substances, kids. Anyway. Whatever. Okay, let's do. What do I want to do? You know what? I'm gonna do one of the idols. I haven't done any idols yet, and we're gonna make this really easy. No, okay, wait. I'm gonna set my file up. I'm gonna make a new sketch layer. I'm gonna make a new keyline layer, and then now I'm gonna save it as this template. Now I'm going to save this as. Let's do the rotting pustule. Because this could be quick. This could be quick, team. We could actually maybe knock this out. I haven't really done any of the idols yet, but I think it's going to be literally just a rotting pustule. I'm basing this off an enamel pin I did a long time ago. That it like the basis of it was sort of like I wanted. Okay, so I like classic monster movies because obviously they're inspirational, but I also don't like ripping off them. So I like coming up with like new ways of kind of like doing homages to things. So I wrote this story about this pustule that basically it's kind of like the Blob, but what if the Blob didn't happen the same way? Like it's a flesh-eating slime organism, and kind of, you know, the nice thing about, or you know, the limit of doing an enamel pin is you can't quite get the translucency of a rotting pustule that you can get with painting. So that's something I'm super interested in trying to nail with this one. I think I'm going to get more kind of like bulbous growths on it because it's like kind of flesh, but then kind of slime too. It'll be dripping, and it'll have. Now, you know, this doesn't have tentacles. I was thinking it was going to have tentacles, but I think this one, no. There's tendrils. It grows out of, but this isn't going to have tentacles because it's an idol that gets worshipped. It's not like it's a like something that can like attack people. In the original story that I was referring to, it definitely attacked people, but this one is just like, I think it's in a puddle of goop on the ground. It like excretes slime. I think just like blah. It's just slimy goop. Slimy goop, y'all. Yeah, I just want it to be veiny and like you're not sure, because like the whole idea of idols is that they're symbols of the demon cult, right? That like people are worshiping the cultists that you are building in the game. Like you're worshiping the idol. So like they're they need to just be like hefty little like gross things that sit there, or scary things or monstrous things. But like I don't know, maybe it's just like it has like it's like scored in some stuff too. It's fun. Okay, cool. Knock that down. We are going to first off. Oh, I think I wanted to keep the background of all of the idols kind of gray, just to differentiate them. And then I'm going to we'll fill in this like gray-green pustule. That's too dark. Let's here we go. Like I imagine like that orifice being like a sea urchin, or that like if you've ever gone tide pooling in California like I have, which I don't know, maybe you don't live anywhere near California, but you go to the tide pools in like Marine Bay, or in like Monterey Bay, Marine Bay. Anyway, Monterey Bay-ish area, or Santa Cruz. I don't know. You can find them. Probably, I don't know. I haven't really gone to Southern California. Anyway, Northern California, they have like you go tide pooling, and you can find like sea urchins and like squishy things, and if you like, you're not supposed to poke them because you're kind of a dick if you do. But this was back in the 90s. We didn't have information as readily available as the internet that you have now. So, but yeah, you like squish them and they like squirt water, and you're like, gross, creepy. So yeah, gross. I'm just gonna do a layer underneath this for all of the slime. I realize it's probably easy for me to just paint everything and then erase away everything I don't need. Too much. Got a little drop of crap there. All right. Okay, now we've got our squirty dude. We can make a new layer, create clipping mask, and then we can go to town rendering this nice fellow. I think it's rendered actually. Oh, that could be kind of cool, because if there's like a light on it from above. That'd be kind of nice. that it's like spotlit a little bit, you know? Like, oh, that's cool. I kind of like that idea. Then we will pick that. Okay. 7 minutes until I have to feed my cats. So we'll try to bang this out as quick as possible. So just again carving out shapes. This is actually closer to like how I paint, and by when I say paint, I mean painting traditionally, um, which is I'm not using a whole lot of line. I might have a sketch, but like most of it is going to be um, just blocking in light and shadow. Just kind of the same thing I do. I mean, it's all this relatively the same, but like one just uses more outline than the other for the most part. We'll see. I like that it kind of has a little bit of a like Cthulhu head vibe, That's kind of nice. All right. Okay, so let's go into the key line. Let's get a super dark black. Then we will start to really paint, and then you'll see kind of the main difference. See, this looks kind of realistic, quote unquote, and then actually by adding in the key line, kind of makes it look a little bit more cartoony. Which, if you're looking for realistic horror, sorry. I mean, I like it too. That's how I usually paint. But I was also thinking, like, while it's very true, I talked about that this style was like, oh, I really wanted to experiment and see what I could do with, like, kind of a different style. I was also like, the nice thing about it is that it makes it less super horrific. And because this is meant to be a game that people play, and not to say there isn't an audience for horror games, because obviously, like, I play a lot of tabletop and I know what's out there. But I did want to make it a little bit more accessible to the average person who's likes monsters, but isn't like, I need to see tons of blood and guts. I mean, like, I don't know, like some of I have like the pain demons. You can only make those look so nice, to be honest, because like those guys are all about like self-mutilation. And so like, like I feel that like I have to like put somewhat of like a self-harm content warning, you know, on my game, because I don't know. Like, you want to let people know, like, it gets creepy. Like, you might be like, oh, look how fun these monsters and demons are. But then it's like, yeah, there's horror elements, and, you know, it's not like a major theme, but you see it. You see, like, you know, as much as, like, you get, like, the Cenobites and stuff, like, that's the archetype that I made the pain demons on. Is like very masochistic demonic entities that like pain. So I don't know, but see, like, this makes it look nicer. I feel like makes it a little bit friendlier, a little bit squishier, but still pretty creepy in a lot of ways, I think. I mean, and it's still like still sending juice out, you know? It's just like bleh, 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 bleh. Okay. Turn off the sketch. Oh, that's one thing I do need to do is give it a horizon line, and now we're pretty good. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Gross little dude spitting out crap. Yay. And then I think we can do a layer on top of this. Oh, the cats. Cats. Okay. I'm going to do this, and then we're going to call it done. Because it needs to be slimy and rotting, so it has to have highlights everywhere, or speculars is what it's called, because speculars means it's wet, and it's also catching light on the dark side and the light side, and because it's sopping wet and gross. And that is how we get creepy. Creepy, rotting pustules. Pustules. Pustules? Pustules. Weird. Anyway. Alright, fam. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be back on same time next week, because I probably won't be on Wednesday, because I'm going to be, that's New Year's Eve. I'll be likely working and hanging out with my cats, ideally. Okay. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Thanks. Hope you're having a good day, and we will call it there. Pustule time. Okay.